Welcome to the August 26th, 2019 Litchfield Board of Selectmen meeting. The board has come out of a paperwork review. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:31 and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the review and approval of consent items. We have the August 12th, 2019 meeting minutes. We have the account payable manifest of August 20th, 2019, $61,929.70, and August 27th, 2019, $62,421.55. We have the payroll manifest of August 22nd, 2019, $40,382.41, and August 29th, 2019, and $52,091.29. We have the town clerk and tax collector reconciliation for July. We have one land use change tax. We have petition and poll license, MS1 valuation, and a license to sell pistols and revolvers. Are there any items members would like to remove from consent? Hearing none, I accept the motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair, to approve the items of consent.
Motion by Mr. Lemire,
Second.
second by Mr. Schaefer. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstained? Motion carries 5-0-0. Is there any additional business we'd like added this evening? There is one. Colby Schmidt, Eagle Scout, would like to come forward this evening. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 p.m. So first item of business is Colby Schmidt. You want to sit right in front, please? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Colby Schmidt from Boy Scout Troop 11, and I'm here to talk about my Eagle project regarding the new town flag. And my project is going to be making a spot that we can display this new flag and so that everybody can see it. So I have 3 different proposals for where we can put it and what we can do with it. The first one is just in addition to the flagpole we have outside already. And it's like adding a cross to it. So we'd put the state flag on the left side and new town flag on the right side. And along with that, I'm going to be adding flowers and a volunteer plaque. There's going to be a possibility of benches, and for this proposal, it's $2,000 to $2,500 as an estimate. And my second option that I have is 3 separate flagpoles. So we already have the one for the American flag. Then I'll be making one for the state and one for the town flag off in a grassy area near the doors. The 2 new flagpoles will be 20 feet at around $500 a piece, and there'll be flowers around each flagpole. There will also be the volunteer plaque near the new town flagpole, and that's for a total $1,575 to $2,000. And the final option that I think is the best one is near the gazebo. There's a lot of open area right by there, and we'd only have to, there's one dead tree. It's not in the way, but it would make it look a lot better if there wasn't this dead tree right next to the flagpole. And we'll make a pathway out to the flag there's going to be a dirt area and flowers and the volunteer plaque next to it. This one will be around $1,275 to $1,650. And I can pass my papers around to show you what they kind of look like. And there is stuff on the back, kind of like an example for what they might look like, what the bases might look like.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Chair, could I ask?
Of course.
Cody, now what is your plan for funding?
Funding this, I do all the fundraising, nothing from the town. I can do bake sales. I can do, one of my big things is I'm going to be selling the flags that we're going to be putting up. And I have some information on those. They'll be the same size as the flags we'll be putting up. So residents, if they want, can buy them. For now, we're thinking from $55 to $60 for each flag. But if we go to a different manufacturer, they could be cheaper.
You have to get so much volume first, right?
Yes. The more we buy, the cheaper it will be.
So you think you maybe try to pre-sell first, and then once
Yeah.
you get enough of them, go and see what price points you can get?
Have you tried to hit up some of the local businesses at all?
Not yet. I can
Yeah.
only do that once the project is approved by the Eagle Board.
Okay.
But yeah, I will talk to businesses, local businesses, and ask for materials and prices.
Got a question. On the one in front of the gazebo, you want to put it to the, I'm going to say the north side or the south side of it? 'Cause I'm looking at the picture and it's
So that's if you're on the street and you come towards, it's going to be on the right side. But if you're
Okay.
looking at it from outside here, it's going to be on the left side.
okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
You've done a lot of work on this. You should be commended for that.
It's a great idea.
It's a great project.
Piggybacking on Matt's work on getting the flag done, and now going off on how we're going to display it.
I noticed Matt had a big smile on his face.
Are you looking for some feedback from us tonight, or do you have some time for us to make that decision?
You can take as long as you want to decide. All I'm looking for is just approval from the town, sort of as a sponsor, but you don't need to like give any money. It's just approval and a place to work and all that stuff.
Now, do you have a time frame? Do you have to get it done by a certain time?
Before I'm 18, so I got a while. But
Okay,
I like that.
How old are you now?
I'm 16.
2 years.
perfect. I didn't want to ask.
Sometimes the town takes a while.
You'll be fine.
It is something I know that the citizens and the selectmen, and I'm sure Mr. Lepore would like to see done sooner than later, at least knowing that we have clear direction.
And I do know there's a lot of citizens that want to buy
And
flags
they
too.
want, so, my little quick input from what I've just seen and heard is I think the flag should be displayed in the front of the town building. I think it's a place where the citizens come in a lot. And I know initially when you and I had sat outside trying to come up with some ideas that we were looking at that nautical type, flagpole, but I like the other option you came up with by installing 2 additional flagpoles separate in the green grass area. So I think if I would have a preference, that's the way I would go. I think it balances the American flag really well, and I think it will be seen by a lot more citizens than the gazebo is a great idea, but I just think it's going to be a lot more visible. There's a lot more activity coming and going from the building, but that's my own.
And the only one we need to keep in light is the American flag, right?
Correct.
Yes. I agree too. I think it would be a tremendous asset to the front of the building, in balancing each side, the state flag and the town flag. I think that would be an excellent visual experience for someone coming in.
I have one comment. The one on the yard arm one, I like the idea, but I'm not sure the existing flagpole will handle the stress of the wind.
Mhm.
Because we don't know what that flagpole is, that they're designed for that. They have to be designed for that, so it's a different type of pole. It's a great thought, though. I like the idea. I could check into that one for you. So I got the flagpole specs in this building somewhere.
I like the idea that the 3 flagpoles in front. That's a
I have
good,
to concur with that one, too.
that is definitely the way to go. It's not hidden by the gazebo, like, you talked about the gazebo, and that's a great idea, but that would be kind of away from the building. And I think that with the state and the town flag flanking the American flag is a beautiful idea.
Plus, you got a lot of trees out there you got to deal with. You won't see it as well.
Yes.
I have to confirm, I like the idea in front of the building itself, spread the 3 spots.
So it sounds like everyone's on board. So the board is to sponsor.
Make a motion that we accept the plan that Cody has presented for the 2 additional flagpoles in front of the building.
We have a motion by Mr. Lemire,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Schaefer. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? Motion carries 5-0-0. Thanks for
Congratulations.
bringing it to
Thank
us
you very
and best of luck. And if you need any help, please reach out.
And when you do your fundraising, I'd like to think you'd come back here, and I think there may be a couple of us who would like to help you out with that.
All right.
Definitely.
All right?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good work.
Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Thanks, Colby. You did
I
a
used to
good
be a
job.
Troop 11 scout, too, years ago.
Good job.
Yeah, they took anybody back then.
Have a good evening.
Back when it was Troop 1, before it became 11. That's how long ago.
No matter what I do, I get it.
First item of business is second item of business is Litchfield Historical Society, New Hampshire State Historic Register application.
You want to push the table ahead a little bit? It's on wheels.
Yeah, you can bring it toward us.
Bring it towards you.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Rob's that one help.
Watch out, Heidi.
You can tell there's an art teacher in the group.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Look at that.
Well, there's a first.
Something just unplugged there.
Oh, that's okay.
That's the video cord.
You guys really.
How come you're not in the front row?
I got you, give your pleasure there. That makes
It should
sense.
be up front.
So, 2 years ago, the Historical Society undertook a project that had sort of bounced around for many years. We found evidence in Concord that 15 years ago, people started to think about putting certain buildings in the town on the state historic register, which has nothing to do with the National Historic Register. And so we decided to form a committee and to go forward with that with the library, the Presbyterian Church, the fire station, the old town hall, and the old part of the Griffin School. And these ladies have worked for 2 years, running back and forth to Concord and doing photos and measuring and so forth and so on. And the project was just submitted a week ago for review by the state, and they were very enthusiastic about it. And so I will let you speak.
Well, sure. Did you get the emails that we sent out for each application?
We did.
Okay, did you have it, if you wanted, I don't know if you had a chance to just skim them, but you can see there was a lot of questions on it. The first one had the main photo on it. And then as you went down, we had to tell you, as we went around the building, what was there. So we had we thought it was going to be a 2-week task, and it took 2 years to do.
Very in-depth
Very
project,
thorough.
much
It
more
is
than we
thorough.
ever thought.
The state's going to go through their first round, of looking at it. They've come back with the town hall already. There was only like one sentence moved and a couple of things, just format. So they're happy overall with what they see. It just took a long time because as we submitted the photos, I wanted to make sure we mentioned everything that was a photo in there. And then when we read our write-up, we had to make sure we had a photo for it. And then when we had everything technically ready, they said, Now you have to go back and say what happened in history to cause this to happen. You know, what were the educational themes going on that caused the building to keep changing, or, you know, that kind of thing. So it just took a long time to put that together. So I think they're excited about it, because Litchfield, when we opened up the File and Concord, there really wasn't anything in there.
Yep, yep.
So we
Very
took a lot of time because we know that people are going to look at this work.
It's going to be reference material for future generations.
I don't know if you saw this on email 1, where we really point out that you, as the town, who own the four of the buildings, you don't own the church. That's the Presbytery owns the church. We will approach them. You can change the building, color it, fences, polka dots. You can rip the building down. You can sell it. There are no restrictions at all on this.
Yeah.
I asked, because we were going through a new fire station at the time, and the Heritage Commission, there was a lot going on. It could have been a potential political football. And I said, if we ever want to get something off the register, could we do that? And there were 4 ways to get it off the register. You just really have to write a letter and get it out. And what they do is, if you want to take it off, they'll just get it out of the computer databases and off the brochures. But she says nobody's ever, once they're on, they never ever request to come off. If you become, what do they call it, on the register, you are also on the back page eligible for moose plate funding from the Conservation Committee. You can, if it needs a new roof or paint, you know, we could try to get some grant money that way.
And the Historical Society has already had moose plate funding grants for the restoration of the old Grange Hall theater curtains.
Now, where is that, Steve? By the way, I don't.
In the Historical Society.
Okay.
They're permanently wrapped, except when we have an event, to take them out. They shouldn't be out to expose to sunlight all the time. So they're professionally wrapped and put away.
So it's basically an honorific title to be on this list, but it's feather in the cap of the town.
Right.
And we just wanted to point out that it is our skyline from across the river. We took pictures when we went over to visit their historical society, but 4 of the buildings are part of our skyline. And they've been important in town for many years, and I happen to have a 1933 diploma from the Litchfield Grammar School that belonged to Heidi's aunt, Alice Morrow Dickinson. So with the picture of the school the way it was back then in 33.
Wow.
And what they will be doing is sending a letter to the town for the 4 buildings that the town owns, just to have you give permission that they can put them in October. It'll go to their full committee.
Right. And we're not guaranteed that they're going to be accepted, but it looks favorable at this point.
That's great.
So, you know, one of the things that I've received since we've published the agenda is I've heard from the school superintendent and the library director, and they had expressed concern to me to make sure it was, you know, brought up this evening that they would like to know more about this and be consulted before the board takes any action.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if, you know, it's like, where do you start off with this? You know, so if your plan was to start off here and then you were going to go to the library trustees of the school,
Or the
or
owners of the buildings.
right,
So
but
I think if you want to gather them and have a talk with them, and we'd be happy to come in and explain it too.
We should do that.
That might be the best thing to do,
Yeah.
than us to try to go around individually and meet with people.
and their concerns is what, you know,
That they can build on or do something if they need
we
to.
can't alter the
Yeah.
building. We're going to be restricted. It's going to cost us a lot of money.
Funding from the moose plate.
No, it
Can we not
doesn't
touch
cost
anything
anyone any
anymore?
money.
Right. No, I mean, but
Yeah.
cost of money because they couldn't change a window to a vinyl window. It has to stay old.
Oh, no.
Something
No,
like
no,
that.
no,
No restriction.
No
No
restrictions.
She
restriction.
said there's no restrictions.
Yeah.
That's part
So
of
that
the
was their
issue, too.
concern.
That's all it is.
Fortunately, we have a school board member here tonight, too. That's you, Mr. Myers.
Get caught in the middle.
Rob quietly back there.
Report on the agenda. I don't know how.
I think we should consult with the library and with the school.
Yeah, even if
Get
they
their
just
input
wanted
on
to
it.
send a representative from each
I
organization.
mean, we could put, because you're on a tight, so we're
Leave
September. So if we could put this back on the selectmen's agenda, and maybe we can invite, like you said,
Sure,
have a school
sure.
rep and
Yeah.
a library rep come to our next meeting.
Because I'm not sure how quickly this is going to happen. Usually they announce their new buildings in the spring. And so even though it's on their October agenda, they may not announce in October who's been selected. or not.
Oh, okay.
Kim, I have a question, Kim, on the worrisome is what it is from the other, that built the building, what can they do, what can they not do? Do you have that breakdown that we can give to them?
Yes.
I think that right there will open up a lot of
Right.
eyes, okay? It'll simplify the whole thing.
Mhm.
If we could get a copy of that, and Troy can send it to him,
Send
if
it
you
to
want to do
him.
that for him, Troy.
I have
Yeah,
that
we
by
should
email,
do?
right?
One,
Yeah.
but I have hard copies
Okay.
if they need it for next time, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you
It's-
Oh, the school's right here.
like more than one?
And this only concerns the old part of the Griffin School, the 1931 building in the front.
The front
That's
section,
not the rest
all
of
the
the school.
stairs.
They're still gonna analyze the whole school, though.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're the historical folks, so I don't know, but the old part of the school is, your position is the town owns it, not the school district?
Town owns all school buildings. School district doesn't own anything. You raised the money from taxpayers.
I mean, they have the authority over the building.
Right. They,
But
just
the
as the
town
library
owns
trustees
all
don't,
assets.
trustees don't own the
I
library.
understand. The libraries don't own the building, but
Right.
the schools, I'm not sure about, I understand the town owns it, but I don't know if the board of selectmen has the authority just to sign what it is that the state's looking for them to sign for a school building. They don't have any control over
We
school
might be
building.
able to check.
But they
that
do
with
the
state
library
too, Kim.
trustees.
If you can investigate that
I
before we
have
sit
the
with everybody.
application here.
I think
That's
by
probably
having,
why a collaborative meeting would
Yeah.
probably be.
it'll
best.
clear up some of the unknowns that are happening
Just,
right now.
that'd be my only concern, is that,
Yeah.
Invite them all here and get
Yeah.
it done, yeah. I think it's a great idea.
On that preliminary review now, just
okay.
to see if it has a chance of passing. She said they look good. If we get approval, then it goes in October to our state historians, our professors, they're really gonna look into the document of what we've done.
Mhm.
So this, they're in preliminary, now we need approval, and then they'll do their
Okay.
deep dive and really, thorough vet the document.
I mean, the factual sheets you've done for all 4 buildings, amazing. Very, very thorough.
That's a lot of work.
That was amazing how much work
That's a
you
lot,
did.
a lot of work.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Is there anything else you guys need from us?
No, that's all we need.
Just an approval
Yeah,
at some
just so
point?
that they can proceed with their application process.
You
I
need
think personally, it's an excellent idea with the historical assets that we have in town. Again, I think having a collaborative meeting,
Yep.
make sure everybody's at the table and on board, I think it's excellent. And at that point, we move forward, and it's excellent idea.
The next meeting?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Next
Yeah.
meeting here?
Well,
Okay, our next meeting?
Yep.
So you're going to invite those groups, Troy?
I'll reach out and
Okay.
see, make sure they have
And
a
your next
representative.
meeting is 2 weeks from today?
Yeah, the 9th.
There's a calendar behind you now.
Oh.
Yeah, September 9th.
That's new.
I put it up last week.
September 9th.
I'm trying to help you.
September already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now,
Sounds
Heidi,
very
are
good.
those
Thank you.
individually made, or are you going to be
Heidi
mass
made those.
produced?
Yeah,
I make
yes,
them.
Heidi
You
makes
make
them.
them?
Now, Brent, you're a member of
I
the
know.
Historical Society.
Yeah.
These are being sold by the Historical Society. You're a member.
I can see my wallet is
Yeah.
being empty rather quickly tonight.
Sure.
I have one more in this, two more that belong to this collection, and that's the Griffin Tavern, which is actually the Frank residence next,
yeah.
next to
Yeah.
the Historical Society.
Yeah.
And I made the trolley car.
Oh,
Electric.
And I'm currently designing the Grange Hall that burned down in
Oh, yes,
1981
I know.
and the Fred Center
That's right.
grist mill. Those are my next 2 coming out.
Nice.
So
Thank you.
Great.
Heidi, you cease to amaze me.
She has too much time on her hands.
Yes. She needs grandchildren.
There you go. There you go.
Kevin.
that wouldn't stop me from doing
I
this.
know that.
All right. Well, thank you very
Thank
much for
you
your
for
time.
considering
Thank
it.
Thank you for coming.
We'll see you in 2 weeks then.
Yep.
Okay,
I
very
can
good.
scan it.
Very good.
Wait, But this one I'll give you as well. It's complimentary.
Yep. Thank you.
My mother still has
Thanks,
her
everyone.
My mother graduated from there too. Little school. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good seeing
Thank
old
you.
faces again.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
See you, good night.
Old
Yeah,
faces.
that's understood.
These are all the people I looked up to growing up in this town.
Yeah.
Unlike the guy at the other end of the table.
I look up to everybody.
All right, seeing that it's 6:56, we'll open up the public input. If there's any members of the public that want to come forward.
Ooh.
Hey, Rob, how are you?
Good, I guess. Rob Myers, 13 Nesson and I'm here as an individual, not as a school board member tonight. So, no problem with the vote the other night at the budget committee. I just wanted to ask a couple of questions about it because I do have a concern. It's the largest single dollar item we vote on in town. And I understand you guys have a vote without a problem. My concern is the way the vote's taken. It's a no vote. That's all 5 of you voting no. And I wanted to ask, was there a discussion of this before the vote? As a board, a discussion of the vote being?
No,
made?
there was none. Our last meeting was on August 12th,
Okay.
and the special meeting announcement came out on August 15th. So we as a board never sat down
And that's where my concern comes from, because as a budget committee member, I knew about this on June 10th, that we're going to have a vote. Everything I go to, and I'm trying to keep separate, but the training I went through with, we go through the New Hampshire School Board Association, you guys go through the New Hampshire Municipal Association. I had a ton of questions about that, because one of my concerns is, and to be blunt to everybody, I've voted against things on the school board that I have to go to the budget committee and vote for. So I try and make sure anything of any significance, I try and hit before I go to a budget committee meeting to make sure because I'm not voting for myself. I'm voting for the other 4 school board members at the same time. My concern is this is the single biggest item we have on, financial item we have on any ballot we put forward. And the selectmen, who in my opinion, school board members, or the leaders of our town, voted no on something that does concern me. And I'd hope in the future there's discussion before a vote like that. As you said, Mr. Leary, when the lady brought up about the 2 police cars, you said you wouldn't have supported that.
No, I said it was before my time.
Before your time, I'm sorry, before your time. Yeah, I can vote no on 2 police cars, you can vote no, but when it comes to the selectmen's budget, we have a discussion as a school board before I go to vote that. And because it's not my vote, it's the 5 members of the school board. And it just concerns me that there wasn't that discussion when we knew at the very latest, I tried to nail this down today, we knew and had made it clear to the community on June 10th that we're seeking a special election. I don't know if you guys met, I think it was actually sometime in mid-May. So that's 1, 2, 3, that's 4 selectmen's meetings where you could have discussed it before the vote was taken. And that's where my concern comes in. The bottom line, biggest item we have, now the town thinks 5 Board of Selectmen members are against it. And it does concern me a little bit on that. We're not talking about the election. I know there's concerns about the election. This has nothing to do with the election. Should we or should we not have the election? Is this contract good or not good for the town? And it does bother me a little bit that it was a no vote. Let me back up. It doesn't bother me it was a no vote. It bothers me that there wasn't consultation before the no vote for something this big in the town.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yep, definitely.
So I would like to ask, and again, just as a private citizen, I would like to ask if you'd consider having a discussion in private, wherever, and come out with guidance for the town on what the school, the budget, the selectmen as a whole feel about it. We've already voted, that's out of the way.
Yeah.
But I would like to request that you guys in private, however you want to do it, discuss what's going on and have a vote, determine if as 5 people you think it is good for the town and just put it out there, because I think that would help.
Guys, how do y'all feel? Have a discussion? Right?
We would have to have that in public.
Public, definitely.
That would be
Yeah,
public
yeah.
discussion.
I'm just saying as a private, I would like to see that just because I think there's a lot of information out there and confusion about this. And I just, and I want you to know, I have no problem with a yes vote, no vote. I wish it had been talked about as a body before it was put forward.
And you are correct. Our representatives do represent the board, and we're still going through a change. We've had a change this year, so I understand exactly what you're saying, and we will. I have no problem doing what you ask and having a
And I'm not trying
public
to
discussion.
I'm not trying to undermine any. I think
not
it
at
is
all. I
important
mean,
in this
it
confusing
didn't hit our
situation.
radar, and it should have.
Yeah.
it
And
happened.
I will tell you right now, I'm associated. I would not be here if this was, March's election upcoming.
Sure.
But this is a
Yeah.
very a very unique thing that people are on edge about. And I just think it would be helpful, whether it's 0.5, whether it's 5, 1.4, whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me. I just think it is good to have the guidance out there from the selectmen.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Raises an interesting point. I'm sitting here for the first time hearing this, and so just kind of wondering if, we had some votes in March, and so did the school board have full discussion about the fire station bond, our union contract, our proposed operating budget?
The operating budget, I'd bring up
Did they talk about that? And it's in
we
the
don't
minutes that
talk line by line.
because that's if that's something both boards are going to start doing. I mean, that's something we're going to have to discuss.
And I want to make clear.
I don't remember having a discussion
Yeah, I
with the
don't
school
see it
board
on
at that
large
level.
ticket
We-
items like that.
Well, to put your mind at ease, we do not talk line by line. I've clarified with them on things. No, I'm not a big fan of this. That's up to you. You're on the budget committee. But I do say this is how I'm thinking about voting for the budget, and I want their input. If three of them
To be fair,
I
a
just,
lot of this came up rather quickly.
and I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And our rep did not really have an opportunity to come back and discuss that with us because of the fact of the compressed time frame. And there was no official request of him to come back and seek the guidance of the board. And I did notice there was a, the decision of the court hasn't even been made yet. And yet they wanted an opinion of the budget committee.
Yeah, and it's not that we
And-
want it. It's that legally our hands were tied because of the time frame involved.
Timeframe.
Sure.
So we were just told
That's what Kerry
But
told me.
can tell you, yeah.
it was a compressed schedule.
It is a very compressed.
We did not have from June to now.
Yep.
We had basically,
3 days.
June 27th is when he was presented.
well,
the budget
what
ready for the vote.
I'm saying is that our rep really didn't have an opportunity to come back and say, the school board or the budget committee would like an opinion on this contract because it wasn't finalized until that special meeting that I covered you on, whatever date that was. The court date was not set.
Mhm.
The budget
Court
committee
date
had
was
to
set,
have a
that's it.
special
Court was
meeting.
set,
The court was set, but the
So, right, what I'm saying is that everything was compressed. He did not have that opportunity
and I
to
fully
seek our input. and-
fully understand that.
Where
It's
he,
just-
where
Yeah,
he
that's a
would
large-scale
have,
decision. We should.
I,
have.
Mr. Lemire, in all honesty, the reason I'm here is just to start
Yeah.
the wheels turning a little bit.
Yep.
We do not go line by line, just to reiterate that, but
Well,
I
I'm
do
not-
ask input just
I'm not
because-
saying line by line. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, we're talking about changing a process.
Well,
And
I
I'm not aware, and I could be wrong.
I did ask people
If
about
the
that.
school board as a whole voted on the fire station bond before the school board representative voted on the bond,
I wasn't on the.
did they review the warrant, the union contract that we just approved?
Mhm.
Was that fully, because that's what we're talking about
I
here.
can ask the police contract with this past year.
This was past.
There were a couple questions asked at a school board in private
Did they
session.
vote?
No,
Private, I mean,
No.
publicly,
publicly, they did just a couple questions.
was there
they
public
asked.
vote of the school board?
Nope.
To vote yes or
No,
no,
no.
to direct the school board's representative in the budget committee
Mm-hmm.
how to vote.
But I do take,
Because if we're going to start that, I think that's a discussion both boards need to have.
but I think it is important that based on, again, I always get it wrong. What is it? New Hampshire School Board, New Hampshire School Board Association. I asked these questions because I had concerns. I mean, if, as the budget committee member, I could vote no on something at the school board and it could be 4-1, and then I could come to the budget committee meeting and be the only person voting for it. And they were talking about ethics, that ethically I have to vote the school board's voice. And that was made very clear.
ordinarily, our representative has the opportunity to discuss
Yep.
everything that goes on with the budget.
And that's all I'm asking.
This has not,
We have had
due
discussions.
to circumstances beyond everyone's control, he did not have that opportunity
Right.
at this point.
And that's why I was here asking
So-
if you could, if you're willing
So
to have a discussion, just put, even if it doesn't even have to be a vote, just things you're concerned with, things you
It-
you approve. you
It's a
support.
moot issue with the
Yep.
vote.
Oh, and I understand that
Yeah.
100%.
But it's something good for looking forward, and as the two boards, how do we really want to go and handle this?
That's my point.
Yeah, that's
My
the
point
big
is if
thing.
we're
It's
going to
two boards,
change,
what type
Yeah.
of,
Either we-
procedure do we want?
either we broke the process, which I don't think we did, or we're talking about starting a new process.
And I don't
Are
think-
we fully committed to that?
And
And Troy, I don't think I'm looking for that. I think
we sit on a lot of different
Yeah.
boards in the town, and we don't always have the opportunity to discuss stuff like this. And so what we have to do as members of the selectmen is we have to do what we think is in the best interest of the
And
taxpayers.
see, that's my concern is my vote the other night would have been to abstain because I didn't have it. If I had
Well-
to go in without hearing anything about your budget for next year, if I miss, and I hate to ask, was there contact,
Well-
Mr. Lemire, after the budget committee? And did you
You know,
guys
I did think
talk?
about that as
If
well.
I could just ask, were you contacted when Mr. Leary couldn't make the deliberative session to ask what happened?
Oh, we were aware, well,
No. I'm just asking, did Mr. Leary contact you, see what happened? What was,
after about it.
we can't have.
But that's my concern, is you were at the deliberative session, hearing the questions, posing the questions,
Right.
and somebody who wasn't there made the vote with no contact.
Right.
That, and
No,
again,
we
I'm only-
conferred briefly.
Okay, I am only here to get the wheels turning, because I just think it's such a big dollar amount, and it is such a, I hate to use the term, it is a special election.
It is interesting when you
So-
brought up me possibly abstaining the other night, because I really think that you and Mrs. Bork should have abstained, because she's the wife of the sitting school board chair, and you are on the school board, so you
Which
shouldn't have been voting,
I
and I would have happily stepped aside if you did.
have no
Okay.
voice in this.
But as a selectman,
I know.
I
Yeah.
have to try and do what I think is in the best interest of the taxpayers.
That's what-
And that's a fiscal decision, which is
But
what you
you-
guys requested. It's got nothing to do with this whole circus, is how I view this whole process that you're going through.
See, right there is
Because
my
you
concern.
basically said, screw the voters of this
Mr.
town.
Weber, I need to stop this right now, because I'm concerned his vote
It's-
is tainted, because he keeps going
It's
back
not
to.
tainted. I voted on
Could I speak,
fiscal.
please? He keeps going back to the special election, which we were directed by the courts, has nothing to do with this vote. This vote is about the legitimacy of the contract. He did that the other night for the budget committee. He's doing it again now, that it's a fiasco. We can think what we want about the special election. The vote has nothing to do with the special election. It has to do with the contract. And that's my concern, is
It's
where
a
this
bad
is coming
contract,
from.
okay? In my opinion, it's a bad contract.
So you talk to a few people, elderly people, and that's the only thing I've heard from you for the largest budget item in our town is you talk to a few elderly people. You haven't given me facts about what's bad. You haven't-
All right, you want another fact? I talked to 10, I think it's 10 teachers,
Mhm.
okay? 4 of them are for it, 4 of them hope it doesn't pass, and 2 didn't care.
That's 10 out of 137.
If you can't even get your own people behind it, how do you expect the taxpayers to get behind it?
My guess is, sir, if you take a vote tonight, I'm willing to bet it's going to be 3-2 against you. You can't get your people behind it.
We can
It's
vote
my
on it right
guess.
now.
That's my guess.
But I think it's a
Mr.
bad
Chair?
contract.
That's your product.
Question.
And it seems like every time the school board doesn't get what they want, this is what we get. We get a special election, we get you coming here on behalf of the school board, because you're not here for yourself. You're not here for yourself.
Sir, I am here for myself because you
Don't-
upset me the other night because you can't keep the separation.
It is
You
separate.
said when
It's a bad contract. What do you want me to do?
I
You
was
want me to
sitting
take out
next
an
to
ad
you
in the
when the
paper?
lady, when
It's
the
a bad
lady said
contract.
about the 2 police cars. That's because I wasn't here. Would you have voted against
Shouldn't.
the budget committee? Would you have voted against your budget committee contract? I'm sorry, your selectman contract at the budget committee? Would you have?
I do not have to look at it.
See, that's ethically corrupt. He shouldn't be on the budget committee. That's against
Ethically
the ethical rules.
corrupt.
So
That's
what
against
we'll
the-
do is we'll discuss and we'll give guidance on how the board feels
Okay.
moving forward.
And can I ask one other question? Which members have been to Concord to a New Hampshire Municipal Association training?
Oh,
Yeah, I know you have. I mean, it's just, and the only reason I bring it up, Mr. Leary, is most of my time at this, I think it was 4-hour training, was spent because I had ethical concerns about being on the budget committee and the school board. Because there are things I vote against regularly because for different reasons. I shouldn't say regularly, but things I vote against for different reasons. And as I said,
I'm actually scheduled to go to a budget.
well, I mean,
Thing at the-
it's
at the-
commendable, but it is an important
September,
thing.
so,
And
So-
it's
They are
just,
fantastic trainings.
they're great trainings. And Mr. Leary, I will tell you, I am not here by any means on behalf of the school board. It takes a lot to get me mad. And it bothered me the other night that one person spoke for 5, where I kind of got the feeling right away there wasn't discussion about it for such a major deal. And that's why I'm here. It has nothing to do with it.
Mr. Chair, may I say something? Sure. I've been in town all my life.
Mhm.
I watched the school board do their thing. I watched the selectmen do their thing. I've seen things vote. I've seen this potential conflicts of interest on everything. What you're saying tonight, thank you. I'm not against it, but I am thinking that is the time duration between. Okay, we did not get I'm going to say the openness of when this was going to happen, this vote. It was a short time period that the board, that I didn't even know about it. Okay, and we should have maybe talked about it a little sooner, or the budget committee coming before the town, talking to us too. Okay, I don't think this is a negative thing. I do think that it's the learning curve. Bob is now got the municipal association. I've been in the municipal government for 40 years. Okay, I've seen this happen before and before. It happens all the time. Troy has brought up some good points that I question. What is this happening? I really think right now that we the board, not tonight, are going to sit down and have a discussion about the future and how we're going to do things. I represent at the planning board. Bob does budget. He got the biggest and worst, I'm going to say the toughest one that anyone ever gets. And God bless you, Bob, for taking on the budget. Okay, anybody. But I think right now we can talk about going this way, going that way. Troy brought up some good points because there's going to be some ragged points. I voted no on the firehouse. Okay, personally, I think it's a monstrosity. Okay, but that's it. It's done.
And I agree,
Okay, okay.
110%.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I think we need to sit down as a board and discuss the method, and that's all. Okay, and just keep it in that realm. Us doing this tonight is not helping matter. Thank you for coming in and bringing up your concern. I appreciate that. And now we just got to go on to the next step.
That's all I'm asking
Okay.
is if it could be done.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to provide comment?
You still-
Hearing none, I'll close public input. Next item on the agenda is snow removal contracts, plow contracts, and parking lot contracts. Mr. Brown.
I have a point of concern. It's not cold enough to talk about this.
It's getting
It was last night.
We're putting Sanders on 2 nights ago. We forecast 40 below.
Got a little light.
So Kevin and I, Kevin, just so you know, I mean, we,
Kevin,
Brown.
for the public.
Never get confused with the right Kevin name.
Road agent Kevin Brown.
Kevin Brown, road agent, and I have been discussing for the last couple of months on, how we wanted to begin recruiting some plow truck drivers and extra help for this upcoming season. We've kind of held back, just allowing Mr. Brown to settle in and kind of get a good feel, reach out to the workers that worked last year, kind of get an understanding of where they're at and their level of commitment. He's received some feedback from some of the operators, and it's all looking very positive. We're probably going to be still down a couple operators. We want to start trying to get the word out. So one is the contract. I just wanted to go through it with the board this evening. Just a couple things that Mr. Brown has suggested that we make changes. We have had operators, so they're not town employees. They're just contractors that come and work for us under the name of their company, but they operate our trucks. And when that's happened, they didn't have it wasn't clear whether or not we were paying them a minimum guarantee. But we're asking this person to commit to the town 100%,
Yep.
not make commitments to any other operations. And that's, typically what we do is we have a guaranteed minimum payment for the year. So this year we want to make sure that it's in the contract. We want to make sure the board was aware. And we're suggesting that for the contractor that just shows up, operates our equipment, it's $45 an hour, same that they were paid last year, but they receive a minimum guaranteed payment of $4,500. That's different than a person who shows up with a truck, with a plow, sander, everything fully equipped. They receive $8,500 guaranteed payment. The numbers kind of reflect 10 storms, 10-hour events, and that's kind of where the numbers are coming from.
A little bit more though actually it's not. I was looking at the skid steer, sorry.
Yeah. And then last year we ended up having We did have a new rate, $85 an hour, because we had a contractor that had some equipment, it's a heavy duty truck, but it never actually got into the contract. So we wanted to bring that to your attention and make sure you're aware that we pay $85 an hour for anyone that shows up with a heavy duty truck and it's fully equipped. If it's doesn't have all the equipment, it knocks down to $75 an hour.
Is
And
that
that's-
guaranteed as well?
Yes, that the guarantee drops to 7,500, not 8,500.
Yeah. So that's a lot of money if we don't have storms to pay out to individuals.
It is, but again, we're trying to get them to make a commitment now.
Yeah.
That they're basically on call 24/7, starting, what is it,
It's not unlike the
November 1st till March
big
31st.
parking lots. Do they have to pay no matter what to keep those?
Yeah.
You know, they pay by the season, not by the storm.
Now, I know the road agent was also talking about not wanting to outfit other people's trucks.
So we've taken some of the language about the extent of the outfitting. So we've got out of the hydraulic pumps, got out of the mounting the plow frames. And so if we have a plow or we have a wing plow and they have a frame and the hydraulics and all this, they can use our plow or wing plow. They can use our sander. But we're not going to get involved in installing the hydraulic equipment, all the hoses. And the reason is there's a considerable amount of money and labor that goes into installing that. And then if that operator leaves next year, we've invested in all this equipment time and they leave with it, or we have to pay money now to get it off.
Oh, we're giving them just the plows.
So we're just going to do plows, sanders,
Common
and a
practice.
wing
If we have it,
if we have it.
if we have it, our own.
So that's in a nutshell, that's really the only changes. I just wanted to make
I
sure.
think that's much
Yeah, it's
It's cleaner.
more palatable.
it's a little
Yeah,
step.
it is.
You know, the goal one day is that we,
Yep.
and I, you know, maybe it's not realistic that we'd hope one day that we can just either have people that are our employees or contractors that just show up with their truck and it's fully equipped. It's their piece of equipment. But
like the state does.
yeah, but you know, there's a shortage of these type of workers out there and equipment.
Well, you
so-
see the signs, the state,
So, you know,
state's looking for.
little steps.
They got a sign at the hooks at Park and Ride.
Yeah.
Plow drivers, they had it all last winter. They're still
City
looking.
of Manchester, you drive down Elm Street, the sign at the north end, looking for drivers for winter now.
I'm thinking about actually maybe even putting it on our Albuquerque and Hillcrest sign. Just trying to start spread the word. Word of mouth is going to be the way you're going to get.
Did well for us for the planning board.
It did.
Well, and you get a lot of traffic on Hillcrest, you know, the big
Truck
orange
traffic.
trucks, you know, if those guys get
Yeah.
laid off, you know.
Word of
they-
mouth.
Yep.
And I thought of that this week, and I'm like, put it out there.
We're putting one up at Continentals. Put Litchfield on it.
So you
The
need a
problem
motion
with
from us?
the Continentals, if you look at some of these heavy duty construction companies, they're working year round now.
Oh, yeah.
The equipment's changed and the whole construction technology.
Oh, I know.
And they're working year round.
I'm trying to figure how we can pave in the winter.
So that's,
Florida.
that would be that. I think
Yeah.
that will be in the record. I don't need a vote or anything. I just, you know, wanted you to be aware. The other one is we would like to have a discussion with the contractor that the school uses for doing parking lots. And look at, because it's, you know, that contract's already kind of gone through a public bidding process and reach out to this person, talk and see what they can do to take over our parking lots. That would take up a lot of the, you know, allow us to have more time on the roads and not so much all of our parking lots.
And then reimburse the school district?
We'll hire them privately.
Or
No,
do you
no, no,
amend
we
them
would-
To their contract.
We probably would do like an addendum, or we'd have I don't know, we just have a discussion first to see what the cost would be with that contractor.
Last
Right,
I knew
but
it was-
no, but I'm saying, if the school district does a global contract with the person,
Right, we could,
and we could piggyback on that contract and reimburse the school district.
Yeah.
It might be cleaner to do that
It was
because
Ed Dalton, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think he does other plowing besides the school.
Yeah, and I'll say this, he's been interested. since the massive parking lot grew this summer. Okay? He's been interested.
So I just, Mr. Brown asked me if I discussed that with the board before he goes and,
Yeah,
has
that's a
a
good idea.
discussion with Mr. Dahl.
That's a
Do we have a
wise
rough
choice.
cost of what it costs us to parking lots?
You
No,
come
we
back.
don't. I mean, but we basically have taken KD Welding. He operates our 1-ton, and his time is dedicated to parking lots. So we believe we could take him
Put him on the road.
and put him out on some of the smaller cul-de-sacs in the 1-ton, keep him on the road.
I can get Ed's number for you if you want.
Okay. I think Kevin
Kevin's got it?
Kevin Brown has been
Okay.
has some contact with him.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What else you got?
All right, next item is cash receipt policy amendment.
All right.
Mr. Brown.
All right, I've been working with the town clerk and finance director. As you know, I discussed at our last meeting the issue that came up when we have insufficient funds. We took a look at our internal procedures. Our procedures really didn't reflect exactly what the policy stated, so we had to make some changes. Done those, some of the highlights are, one of the things that's recently happened is the banks no longer will accept any checks that have, unless they're made in blue or black ink. No more red, no more pink, no funky colors, black or blue ink was only acceptable. When we accept checks from customers, they have to make sure their name is on it and their phone number. So if we receive notification that there's insufficient funds, in our policy now will be that we'll make that courtesy call, inform the customer. They have an opportunity 24 hours to come in, make the check whole again. If not, then we'll turn it over to the police department. Also, the handling of some of the cash, in the policy, always reference the town clerk and the deputy, but our practice is all three. So the town clerk, the deputy, and the assistant clerk. They all have a role in verifying the cash that's turned in every day, and they all go to the bank and make deposits depending on vacation and all that. So that was not consistent. That's been improved. Those are the only.
That's okay with the auditors, right?
Yeah.
The auditors have no problem.
That's fine. And I think that's
Sorry.
pretty much, that's pretty much, those are the changes.
My wife will contest the purple ink is not very appropriate this past week. Okay? She had to come back and re-sign it.
Well, she did.
She didn't realize it.
Kevin, don't rat on your wife. Jeez, the poor woman.
So I would
Ouch.
like to have a motion that, that the board accepts these amendments to the cash receipts policy as written.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Lynch, second by Mr. Lemire. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstained? Motion carries 500. The next item is buildings and facility tours. Mr. Brown.
Whose idea was this?
Well, as you know, back in June, we did a visit of the highway department. It was a joint meeting with the budget committee and selectmen, and it was very positive, well received by both boards. And we had discussed making sure we go around and visit all of our buildings and facilities. And summer came, we kind of got a little bit sidetracked. So I have recently reached out to the buildings. I'm not going to our athletic facilities, Jeff Lane and Corning Road and stuff like that. But I've reached out to the library trustees, the director, the cable operators, the fire, our fire chief and police chief, and our solid waste administrator. So these are all confirmed dates.
Bob, you ran these past the budget committee at the last meeting?
And they're a little probably, I'll send it out again because now they're firm
Yeah, okay.
dates.
Okay, good. Yeah, Miss Douglas asked me that, and I said I'd get back to her, so.
So we'd be, so unfortunately, with our schedule and the budget and everything, we're trying to get this all done in September. So we're gonna have to have some Thursday night meetings to do these tours. But September 5th, we'll do the library, the cable studio, and the old fire station, and town hall.
I'm gonna try to get LCTV to come out with the remote camera again like we did.
I will, I'll reach out to them and ask.
Great.
And then Thursday, September 12th, we do the town office. I'm not sure how much, I put the town office. I'm not really sure how much time we'll really spend in the town office, but the real purpose here is the police station. And then we could all go over and do a tour of the fire station. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to tour the new facility since they've moved in. And then at the end of the month, September 30th, it's a Monday, we'll do the solid waste and recycling facility and the dog kennel.
Great, thank you.
You'll be studying out those times to us because our memories are getting older.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
I'm referring to all of us.
And I'll forward it to the chair of the budget committee unless are you going to
I'll
include her?
forward
You're going to include her? Okay, thank
I'll
you.
make sure I copy you. So you know.
Okay, cool, thank you.
The next item is the administrator report. Mr. Brown.
So not much to report, just let you know we're, all the departments have been working on their budgets. So I've been getting good feedback that they've been working on them. Some have done, some are just waiting for some additional information. But, this week and next week, we'll be pulling together the information. Just a recap, the way the budget's presented to the board is it all comes in pieces because you start the process so early. And then, we got to get it to the budget committee. So it's presented to the board in 3 meetings. So it's not until really the last meeting that you actually start to see the big picture of what the bottom line costs and everything are. And then, of course, then it goes to the budget committee and is delivered. They discuss it for a month and a half. Well, not really, but a month.
Yep.
And then we have our public hearings. So, and that's it. Just working on that.
Okay, thank you. Selectmen reports, Mr. Lynch.
We had a planning board meeting last week. It went well. There was 2 things approved. The old France Smith, Craig Young's house was subdivided off on Route 3A. They've got the windows and doors open and closed. That's up the north end of town. And and a minor site plan for the old garage back there. They're going to close off the existing entrance that's there now to get to it. They're going to move it south, go in straight, and then go to the building. It won't be right
That's
there.
all by Continental now, right?
That's all by Continental. Okay, so that's about it. We got another meeting coming up next week, I believe after the Labor Day, another subdivision going on. So that's about it. Everything went well. All got approved.
Great, thanks. Mr. Schaefer.
Not much going on in the rec commission. We had a group apply for use of Talent Hall, and we because they're not a recreation group, we had to not let them use it, unfortunately. And that was only based on the fact that if we let them use it, then we'd have to let everybody else use it. So we're sticking to just the recreation aspects of use. And that's it, really. We have a meeting tomorrow night.
Thank you. Based on that, we should start looking at a town policy of using of town facilities, which groups, because we really don't have a policy right now.
But that's buildings under the rec commission.
That is what I'm saying from ours for
Yeah.
town hall, fire station. Where else could they go and meet?
Right.
We really don't have a policy on what groups, so it might be something we as a board want to start addressing.
Yep.
From a conservation commission, we did not have a meeting since our last selectman. We have a meeting next week,
Understood.
so I have nothing to report. Mr. Lemire.
Heritage Commission is not meeting until September, second Tuesday in September, so I will have a report after that.
Great. Mr. Larry.
We had a budget meeting on the 22nd and a special meeting the Monday before that, where the contract was brought up and discussed and voted on. It did pass. We have a deliberative coming up for the school on September 3rd. And then I think the next scheduled meeting is the 26th, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you.
Okay.
You said the deliberative on September
There's
3rd?
a deliberative coming up, yes.
That's based on the court coming back with a.
Subject to the
No,
court,
they're
right?
gonna have
No,
it
it doesn't
anyway.
matter, no.
Deliberative anyways?
Right.
No, they're trying to get all the ducks in a row, so if it does come back favorable, that they have
Go right
everything.
to vote.
Yeah.
Town meeting.
Yeah, they can set up. It's on a very tight timeline.
Yeah.
In order to satisfy all the legal stuff, they have to do it in this order.
That's tight.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Since there were no items removed from consent, we did handle the other item of business. Our next regular meeting will be September 9th, 2019. We do have one more item on the agenda this evening. That's a non-public session under RSA 91A:3, 2A, promotion or compensation of an employee. Can I have a motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Schaefer,
Second?
second by Mr. Larry. Roll call, Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Schaefer?
Yes.
I'm yes.
Yes.
Mr. Lemare?
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Leary? Okay, motion carries 500. We only come out of non-public to close the meeting, so we're now in non-public.
I'll be back.
Have a good evening.